Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday night again. I almost said it was Wednesday night. Did we have the show on Wednesday night once? Did we, Augie? When we first
Yes,
started? We
yes, in the
did. We
beginning.
did. It's really Tuesday, though, guys. Hi, welcome to Broadcast
Yes,
Team
ma'am.
Alpha. We're way back in the day, where we bring you cutting edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibility. And we're really going to do it again tonight in a great way with one of our favorite people on the planet. But before we get started, I want to invite you to something new that's happening. And I don't know if it's live yet. We're going to have a membership community. It's going to be a more intimate, personal community where Augie and I are present and can have conversations with you, and where you just get the perks of membership. You receive content that's not out, on the regular channel, specialized content for you, and you get the information hot off the presses before it goes out into our website and that. So, Augie, tell us about our beloved guest.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. We have a very special guest with us. She's been on here once before, just about a year ago, and
Really?
a lot of things have happened in a year. We have, done a little more than time travel to make it where we are. I would say this is going to be a teaching lesson for me, and guess what? I'm ready to take notes. Boy, am I going to take notes this time. So we have Dr. Sharnael Wolverton with us. And because we have Sharnael Wolverton with us, she is a naturopathic doctor, done a lot of research. And I want to mention her website first for the ones that like to surf websites at the same time they're listening, and that is swiftfire.org. Swiftfire.org. So feel free to go over there and look over the books and everything she has, and you can also book yourself a session with her, and it will be a wonderful one. Let's see. Swiftfire International is, I guess, what it's called. She's an author and a speaker at conferences everywhere, and she specializes in helping everybody to find truth and the path of true wholeness of mind. Dr. Sharnael has done this by traveling and speaking in over, I'm going to say this again, 44 countries and lectured. Wow, 44 countries. And she's written 5 books, and we're going to hear more about that. And one of them is The Science of Miracles. That caught my eye right away, because I heard a magician one time said there's no such thing as miracles. It's only science of the future. And I totally agree, because once we get into that spiritual science, there is an explanation for everything. So yes, she's right. There is a science of miracles. And she's also producing her own crystal oils and decree decks. She also does online classes. And she is everywhere on interviews and conferences and so on. So welcome to the show, Sharnael.
Welcome, Sharnael. Yay.
Thank you so much. So cool to be with you guys again. Just such an honor to be with y'all. And Mac too. Hey, Mac, we love you, Mac.
Yeah, we love Mac. So good to
Thank
have
you.
you. So good. So we know how amazing you are, and we love you. But for the people, tis true. Tis true. And you are always like on the top of my prayers, for safety, because it's a crazy thing, world out there, and you're doing special work. So, but for the people who don't know you, I just want them to kind of get a feeling for you, although your energy speaks volumes. What's it like to be a naturopathic doctor? I mean, what's the magic in it? What do you love about it?
Well, all coaching or serving is self-serving. And what I really find is every person who comes to my doorstep usually is because there's something for me to learn as well. As I'm speaking to anyone who comes my way, usually end up just using them to talk to me. And it's always fascinating, the synchronicities of people who come my way for whether it's a soul audit or a bioscan or just a coaching thing. It's just serendipity is amazing, and synchronicities are awesome. But I guess what my favorite thing ever is just to be able to see someone who has like tried all the things and maybe on a bunch of different pharmaceuticals, which pharmaceutical comes from the word pharmakia, which is actually witchcraft. And I think a lot of people don't really understand how deep and dark, that whole goes, and all the side effects that come on it. And just in my own journey of being able to reverse different diseases in my own health, and getting off of 30 different medications and, seeing a thriving life. And not that I haven't had hiccups along the way, and then I just learned how to reverse that. But just seeing people get empowered again, seeing people remember their health and their energy, their metabolism, to be able to think clearly again, to not just say no to pharmaceuticals, but to wake up to the truth of what's going on and be able to implement some different practices in their life, whether it's sun gazing or yoga or Reiki or all the different amazing energy modalities, or using frequency things like rife or essential oils or crystals or different things that really add so much to people's lives and can actually reverse and rescript and rewrite the whole story of their lives and bring ease in their mind, ease in their physical body, ease in their spirit, clarity. For people who've been confused, especially in these last 3 years, there's been a lot of targeted strategy to bring confusion and division, and to be able to work with people to reverse engineer that and to actually feel good enough to do their mission. That is, that's my reward, is being able to just be a facilitator to that, and to, answer questions and bring encouragement and show people, your body is powerful. We are all powerful beings. We have this amazing technology that does things already. And sometimes we just need a little push in one direction or the other to let the body remember how to do what it's supposed to do on its own. And once people feel better, then they have the energy to play and to create. And once you can cut out all the distractions of pain and non-sleep and hormone issues or parasites or whatever the situation is, then that shuts down all this excess leaking energy that's kind of always going on in the background, like an undergirth bandwidth that's taking all this bandwidth that can be focused on actually accomplishing dreams and manifesting things that only you can do. Each person is here with a very specific customized call that no one else can do. And so we all need each other, because we all carry a piece and a cell of God, and each one of us in that cell are here, and we need each other. And that's why too, even in my own situation, and there's been times when I didn't have all the answers. And so I may need to call one of you two, and you guys have been extremely fulfilling, and Mac is here, and we all work together. And so it's a team effort. And when we collectively work together and remember each other as one in unity, then we can accomplish such greater, bigger things than we could ever do on our own. So it's about getting people to balance and harmony, but then getting to thriving. And once we're in that thriving, then that's whenever things start rolling, and you start, changing up these negative patterns, start collaborating with other people that are like-minded, and really seeing some big energy shifts. And that is so fun. I love that so much.
That sounds so satisfying.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
guys do it too. You guys
we do.
everyone's doing,
Yeah, so good. Well, speaking of frequency, and I know you just spoke about this at the Portal to Ascension. Was that the one we just did?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. That was so fun.
And you mentioned that the Schumann resonance has been off off it's been out for 9 days. For the people who don't really understand what it is, they keep hearing Schumann, but they don't know what it means in their life. Can you just give us a little explanation of what it is and then tell us what happened? That would be amazing.
Yeah, of course. That's a great question. So there's a guy named Otis Schumann who basically came up with some technology. Well, first of all, he realized that the earth had a biofield, just like we have a biofield as humans, whatever we are, humans, animals, plants, anything that has life has this aura or field or electric belts. There's a lot of different names, ether, body, whatever you want to call it. We all have that, and it's detectable. You can see it on cameras. There's specific cameras that can now take pictures of that and see. And I've even seen pictures where like a plant will be by another plant, and one plant would suck the energy from the other plant to actually survive, killing this one usually. And same thing with people. There are people who cannot generate their own frequency, so they have to live off of other people's energy, and that's not a healthy thing. But so the earth actually has its own biofield as well, and that field is usually 7.83 hertz. And what they were noticing, this guy, is they took these generators to measure the earth and multiple places on the earth, so he can get a really good reading of what, if this would change, if it would go up or down, or, just kind of keeping an eye on it for science. Science people are geeky. They don't just do things once and go, oh, we're done. They follow up and keep going. And what they noticed is the first time that it really kicked in, where they saw a big shift that they weren't expecting, was when O.J. Simpson was going through his thing. And I don't know if anyone ever watched that, or anyone watching was old enough to remember when that happened, but there was a guy named O.J. Simpson who, may or may not have killed people. And he was running from the cops in his white Bronco. And this was one of the big first events that was actually televised on television, and all of the United States, and probably outside of the United States, where there was a centralized focus on one thing. Like every TV, if you walked into a TV store that day, all the TVs were on the channel. Every channel had it of just this car chase. And sometimes it wasn't even a chase. He was just kind of like
meandering along.
But they were all just like waiting to figure out what to do next, and like, all these cops following him until whatever. But and then they arrested him. But anyway, they saw that these generators that were all over measuring just completely went berserko and like really, really spiked. And it created an earth shift by everyone's focus. See, remember, we're all powerful, and everyone's energy and emotions, which is key, basically spiked the earth frequency in just that time period. And that was like, whoa, these scientists were just like, we've not ever seen this happen. And of course, after a day or so, it subsided and went back down to its normal frequency. But there's been times, whether it was like an external thing with solar flares or things from the galaxies that would help cause like a disruption or a spike. And then there was also current events that affected the world, like Princess Diana getting married or Princess Diana's death. Those were both big, big spikes, and it went on for quite a few days. They call that a whiteout. And let's say it jumps up to 35 or 70. It might jump up to 35 or 70 or 80, or anything over 7 is pretty, considered a big spike. But let's say it goes up for like an hour or a half an hour, but then it would go back down. And then it might spike up a little and go back down. So you'd have these little blips of what they call a whiteout. It also happened when 9/11 happened. And that was a little bit longer whiteout because there was just so much like shock, around the world, like what in the world's going on? Who would do this? And there was a lot of accusations, and they did it, and they did it, and who did it, and pointing fingers, and maybe we're going to war, and lots of people passing, and lots of people in trauma, and lots of people helping people and affected by this. And So, and this was worldwide. And so here, all these generators spike, spike, spike. Well, very, very rarely have we had a blackout. And a blackout is when it spikes so high that it will not even register on the machines. It basically shuts the machines
Wow.
down because it's like too much. We can't even register this. So
Wow.
during the time of 9/11, back in September this last month, I think there was just honestly a crap storm of energy all happening at one time. You know, usually cyclical 9/11, there can be a whiteout. There can be maybe an hour or two of a whiteout on 9/11 just because it's an anniversary. The news will like shoot out all this stuff. And, you know, the news, they're using us to
Absolutely.
put their central focus on things, and they know what they're doing. But or somebody does. But with this last 9/11 in September, not only was it 9/11 with that anniversary and the cyclical time of a loop, a trauma loop, but the Queen passed. So that was
Yes.
like a huge change in everything, you know, for most of Europe to go through a big change for them. I mean, we haven't had a new king or queen in
Yes.
long time, you know,
Right.
decades.
Right.
So that's a
Right.
big,
Yeah.
big shock. We also had a full moon at the same time, and we had
Yes.
6 planets in retrograde at the same time. We also
Crazy.
had a solar flare at the same time. So to have all of those things happen at one, I mean, even one of those things could cause a really big whiteout for a long period of time. This combination of all of these things actually turned off the machines, not for a day, not for
Wow.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, but 9 days. Complete
Wow.
blackout, nothing
Wow.
registered. And I'm telling you, crime went up, weather changes happened. You know, people were acting
Weird.
a little bit emotional. You know, whatever is in the DNA that isn't healed will
Yeah.
surface when
Yeah.
these spikes happen. And a lot of
Yeah.
times people aren't even aware, like, oh, well, this is because of the Schumann, and I should just calm down because this isn't me. I'm just picking up as an empath this stuff
Right.
that's going on. And so you can actually feel super crazy and not
Yeah.
realize that
Yep.
it's really not even you. I mean, it is you,
Exactly.
but you know, so
Right.
you have
Not
a couple.
specifically you.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah.
specifically you, right?
So you have some
Wow.
choices, and we can use the Schumann for good because it will push everything up to the surface within the DNA. And
Mm.
at
I
that
got
point, what's
I
that?
got a question. I got a question on this. How does this spike affect the human body or the human mind? And a side question to that is, let's say that a negative event like 9/11 that creates a spike, but then there are positive events that also creates a spike. Is there a difference in the energy or the frequency or the output of that that would affect us positively or negatively?
It's yeah, that's a great question. All energy spikes, good or bad, which there is not good or bad, but
Yeah.
every kind of spike will affect any living thing and all technology and weather. And I mean, some people have headaches, some people cry a lot, some people can get irate and do things they would never do, say things they would never say, dizziness, ringing of the ears. You could feel physically sick. It can cause pain, sleeplessness. Some people are the opposite and they sleep, 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 and they don't know why they're so tired. They just feel drained. You know, there's a lot of different side effects, and animals will feel it too. They'll do strange things. Again, technology, my website went down, my email went down. I'm still working on email. I'm having to reboot a new website. I had to get a new phone. I mean, there's just
Wow.
lots of
Wow.
things will happen in these times, and if you're not aware of it, you can be like, oh my gosh, this is just an attack and blah blah blah. It's like it
Yeah.
just is, you know,
Yeah.
it just
Just
is.
what's
So
happening.
good or bad, you know, if you're not aware what's going on, there's been a higher rate of suicide. There's been a higher rate of crime. People get desperate and do weird things. There's been more relationship issues for sure, because people aren't tolerating each other. They're, aggravated and irritated and, fighting over weird things. But on a positive, it can bring amazing dreams. It can bring a lot of clarity. It can spike your intuition. If things are healed, it can
Yes.
be a good thing. It could be a time where things can come up. And even if it's a bad thing that comes up, it's an opportunity to heal it, because
Yes.
you may not even know that it was there because it's so deep. But with
Right.
the shaman, if there is a spike, it'll push it up and you'll go, oh, I didn't know that was there. And then you have the
Absolutely.
choice to either deal with it and
Right.
transmute it, or what a
Yes.
lot of people do is push it down and deny it
Yeah.
and be like, oh my gosh, this sucks and I can't deal with it. I'm going under the covers and call me when
Yeah.
this is over, kind of deal,
Right.
Um, that's not going to help. But if you are aware, um, it's a great opportunity to
Yes.
say, like, you know what, this thing may be something from grandpa or great grandma or some ancestral thing, or just maybe your own programming that comes up, and
Yeah.
it gives you a mirror,
Yeah.
and you could go, hey, I didn't know this was here, or maybe I did, and I would like to get some help to move this out, and let's move this out.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and there's different things we can do to do that. And there's also different things that we can support ourselves a little bit extra during those times. And you can
Mhm.
get an app on your phone and you can look every day to see what the Schumann is. And a lot of times I got like a 3 or 4 clients in a row or patients in a row that are all like, feeling different things, or doing weird stuff. I mean, I had 3 suicides this week. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, what's going on? That's my first thing I'm going to look to see. Is the Schumann acting
Yeah.
weird, or is there something else going on? Or,
Right.
I know what's going on in this last week. I don't think it was the Schumann, but
Yeah.
more voice to God tech, when we can talk about that another time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
actually, what is voice to God? Can we talk about that a little bit?
sure, sure. So voice to God tech, and if you want more information on that, I can give you guys a link that I did a whole article including
Yeah.
patents, numbers, pictures of all the patents, and there's even a video that explains. But um it's been around since like the 30s and the 40s, and
Right.
they're actually socially engineering um messages
Yeah.
to the body, to our physical bodies, to hear certain phrases that we will maybe either think they're our own voice or an angel or God, or, just some sort of voice that we don't even recognize, but we just put a name on it and say, well, that must be God, or that must be the
Right.
devil, or, you make up whatever. But
Sure. Sure.
I know a couple years back, I had a lot of clients who weren't getting the thing and a lot of people who were, but there was a big, huge group of people that were way anti this, never would take even an aspirin, super strong promoters of, natural health and, marketing that and just standing in their truth of that and standing up, even not, quitting jobs and all of that. And then all of a sudden they went and got it. and
Mm.
and I would find out and I was like, what in the world? Like, you were
Yeah.
so against it. Like, what in the
Yeah.
world happened? And every single person came back and said, it was so weird. I was driving down the road and then all of a sudden I heard, it's okay, just take it, you'll be fine. Or
Wow.
it's okay, you'll be fine. Just take it, nothing will happen. And it was
Yeah.
all the same thing. Like, they heard it in a dream, they woke up and heard it
Yeah.
when they were quiet sitting outside barbecuing. All of a sudden they heard, it'll be fine, go take it, and then they took it. And
Wow.
so that's one. Now I'm seeing a new whole strategic ambush, very strategized,
Good.
organized thing
Yeah.
again in this year that started in July, and it's been even beefing up even more in these last few weeks. I don't know if it's because the Schumann
Mhm.
made it even easier to hear. I really don't know or understand, but it's a suicide program that they've put
Wow.
out now. And I'm hearing things like, what's the point? I'm all alone. I don't have any friends. There's no
Wow.
use. Why am I even here?
Wow.
Really dark messages
Yes.
where people have actually taken action with those things. And like I said, I've had 3 people who committed suicide even this week, one
Wow.
a family member. So
Wow.
Wow.
I'm so
it
sorry. I'm
it's
sorry.
but when you hear over and over the same messages, and I've actually heard these messages since July, and I thought it was me at the beginning. But then when you start hearing everyone saying the same thing, then I have to go, okay, you know what? This is bigger than just my
Yeah.
own like having a bad day kind of deal. This
Right.
is this is a campaign to
Right.
take
Right.
people out.
Yes. And I'll tell you what I've been hearing, because I think you and I are the same, that we pick up on trends, right? Um, I'm hearing people tell other people now, people who are influential, to like align with their computer, as technology advances, that they should really align with their computer. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean? What does that mean? And what are they paving the way for? Isn't that crazy? I just had to say it out
Transhumanism.
loud.
Yeah. Yeah, actually had a couple people who were like, "Oh, we can't wait till we can get a chip in our head." And then
No.
yeah, because then we can live forever and da 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 da. And I'm just like, where did that's been recent. 2 people. They were like, we can't wait till we're part robot. We want to be bionic, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh my gosh. So I didn't know you were hearing that too, but I've had 2 people tell me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really crazy. Really,
What
really
is
crazy.
what is the most important thing that people need to know and think about right now, maybe to keep their frequency high and stay in a good sense of mind and control their environment so they don't get dragged down again?
Ooh, um,
Big one.
certain types of essential oils are really
Yeah.
helpful. I say that with big caution because I've done a lot of research on many, many, many companies, and most of them will make you absolutely worse. They will not bring you frequency, they will do the reverse. And they're full of chemicals, propylene
Mm.
glycol, and really, really toxic things. I've actually even found a company that had semen, urine, and feces and blood in
Oh,
the
come
oils.
on.
What?
Really?
Yes,
Really?
multiple. And I was like, what in the world why would this be in the
Wow.
bottle? And the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? This is a ritual.
Yeah.
They're actually they're really smart. They're basically this is how they do rituals. And there's this exchange during a ritual, and this is a way they can get people who are meaning well to purchase and then apply, because they have to tell you. And if you have consent by buying it and then using it, even if you're a little tricked on what's in the bottle, then they can get away with no karma. So
Mhm.
I'm really cautious to even say essential oils because people might just
Wow.
go out and get one and then they get something terrible. I'll never ever get anything on eBay or a
Right.
store
No.
or
No.
Amazon, because even the stuff that's labeled good, they've been tampering with it and then gluing and sealing the bottle back and resending it off, and making
Exactly.
money by just
Exactly.
either tainting it or
Yep.
cutting it down
Yep.
to make more money.
Yep.
But yeah, there are certain oils, companies that have really, really high frequency oils to keep up the frequency in your body so you won't be susceptible to psychic attack and
Mhm.
or any kind of intrusion. Sage is good. Palo
Mm.
Santo, white angelica, you can burn that in the house. The only thing is, if you leave the house or when it subsides, then what are you going to do? So I mean, you'd have to do it all the time, every day. What I like about essential oils is it goes past the blood barrier and actually covers and invades the cell for epigenetics and can change and mutate the cell to a higher frequency, because your biofield is made up of the language of what you're thinking, what you're
Yeah.
talking about, what you're feeling, and your signature code is what is projected out there. Each organ and each cell has its own projection, like a projector out into this field. And so if you can cover your cells with sage oil or Palo Santo or white angelica, then when you walk out of your house, you're still covered. Your frequency is built up and strengthened to walk around and be doing your life without any intrusion, and you're completely sovereign. Crystals are a great thing, you know, any dark crystals, shungite, jet, obsidian, gosh.
Love shungite. Love shungite.
Yeah, tourmaline, those kind of things. Of course, meditation. But if you're not aware that if you get quiet and you're meditating and then you start hearing voice to God tech, that could be a counter. You might think, oh my God, God's speaking to me. And then really you're getting some subliminal message that could tell you to do something crazy. So if it's dark, it's not God. If it's dark, this is not your higher self. This is not the light. So, you know, pay attention to how you feel when you hear those voices. Is it going to make you feel shame or scared or, you know, fear or confused, or, you know, pay attention to how you feel about what you hear and then take action. But be very careful.
I love what you just said there. Pay attention to how you feel. So if you're a normally, you know, steady person and all of a sudden you're thinking about suicide, you should ask the question, who does this belong to? And then see how you feel. If it feels heavy, it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you, you know, and then do whatever you need to do to raise your vibration, right?
Yes.
Even, you know, when I go to, I mean, I don't go to that many places right now, but when I go to, there's an herb shop right here where I am, and the lady that owns it is a friend of mine, and she's got some oils down there. And you know, when I walk in there, I make the intention of connecting with what I need and not connecting with what I don't need. So if I pick something up and oil up and I'll go, no, I don't think so. I know that that's not for me today, you know? And I think if we create the intention, we're always going to be okay. Yeah. Absolutely. I want to say thank you to Nancy, to Dana and to Margaret. Thank you for the super chats, guys. You guys are so sweet. We love you. I'm just going to check the chat really quick to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, I was going to add to nature, you know, getting out and getting grounded, take off your shoes and your socks and just get in the grass and the dirt and the sand, wherever you are, in the snow. I don't know where everybody is. You know, sun gazing. I have grounding devices that I wear when I'm on my computer. If I'm going to be there for a while working, or when I'm sleeping, I definitely wear it every night when I go to sleep. Animals are huge. High frequency. Cats will purr at 157 megahertz. We're 67 megahertz on an adult healthy day. And your cat, if you're low, that cat will come right over and sit on you and just purr and try to morph you up to a higher, you know, a higher sound. Salt, you can put salt in the corners, salt in your water that you're drinking. You know, magnesium baths are really good. I use some ancient minerals, salt flakes that I just dump in the water and just cover yourself head to toe. And that changes your whole field, but it also relaxes your muscles and helps your chemical response as far as your, you know, brain chemistry, your serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, like all those things. Exercise, you know, getting out and just walking, being in sunlight. Actual just sunlight. There's lots of studies, and I've just been really diving into this of light. If you look at animals, you watch animals, you could be in a room and maybe there's just like one beam of light that'll come from the window. All the cats will be in that beam, and as it moves, they follow it all day because it charges them as they're moving. And I have so many pictures of my animals. They'll be like one square, and they'll all be huddled in this like, you know, which, you know, makes sense because during quarantine, they wanted you in the house, no outside, you know, masks, like all the stuff. And, you know, they're trying to deplete us from any charge that could help, promote a frequency at any, even oxygen was depleted. So,
Seriously.
but yeah, there's all kinds of, diet is huge, stay off sugar. If you want to have a great intuition, carbs and sugar are not your friend. They would take people right off any program if you're on any kind of sugar. If you ate sugar, you're out the programs. And so you want to really heighten your chemistry to be able to hear properly what your higher self is saying, what God is saying in you. Strengthen your intuition, raise your frequency.
Yes.
You got to cut all that out. And also those carbs and sugar feed fungus and parasites.
Seriously.
And if you have fungus and parasites, you sent out a projection in your projector of I'm a good victim, cancel clear. And then people will only come into your life and submit to those numbers. And they're not realizing that they're taking advantage of you on purpose necessarily. They're not like malicious, but they'll only submit to your lowest number. Right. And so if you have victim energy, you'll collect victim situations and victim people, like going through the food place and they get your order wrong, like for the 15th time, in a month or whatever, or you order something online and it's the wrong thing, or they overcharged you, or, things like that can keep going and going and going if you have that energy that you're putting out. So
if you see the trend, look at that, and go, okay, what am I doing here? What am I thinking maybe that I'm unaware of, right? That's manifesting this in my life, because really whatever we have in our life is evidence of what we've been thinking.
Yep. Right? And like I said, parasites, if a lot of people have parasites, a lot of people have fungus or candida. And if anyone's dealing with that, I can guarantee you they're also in the victim energy, and they're being taken advantage of. And they can be the nicest people on the planet, the most loyal people on the planet. They could be overextending themselves, helping, but always getting the short end of the stick and being like, why is this happening? Because you would think karma, being nice, you get nice back. You do good, you return the socks because you accidentally getting charged for them. But then when it comes back to your turn, it's not working. And it's like, why is this not happening? It could be an organ that has parasites that's sending this projection, so.
And Char, if we have parasites, are we not a victim? If we're hosting parasites in our body, aren't we a victim? That's amazing. It's amazing. I just want to go back to one thing Margaret mentioned when we were talking about oils. Margaret mentioned that only the Holy Spirit can protect you when you go out there. And I just want to clarify that. And I think I speak for Char as well. Your spiritual practice really should be in alignment, first and foremost, right? When you wake up in the morning, do whatever you do spiritually to get yourself in alignment. Then you know better what you need. When I go out today, do I need essential oils? Do I need to call Dr. Sharnael and get a reading, a Biofield? What's it called? The reading that you do, that amazing energetic.
I do biofeedback, and then I also do soul audits.
The soul audits. And I would not take action in my day until I'm really, know that I'm okay, that I'm balanced. I mean, some nights I don't sleep because of the Schumann. Some nights I feel like I'm dreaming and I'm so busy. And those mornings I'm not my usual self. I'm not, my spiritual integrity is a little lacking. So I just wanted to clarify that, Margaret, and not overlook that. Yeah.
Can I say something about that? Because
please, my gosh,
Margaret, that's a great thing, Margaret. For those who follow Christianity and the Bible, there are 1,600 references to essential oils in the Bible. Jesus himself used the oils. Mary used the oils on Jesus. But just even aside from oils, by the way, the disciples were sent 2 by 2, and they couldn't bring a cloak. They could not bring a purse, but they were sent. In the next sentence, they went out and healed people 2 by 2 with essential oils. So they were allowed to bring their oils on their path with the 2 by 2. They couldn't bring anything with them, but they had their oils. Luke was a physician, And I promise you, he was not writing scripts out for pharmaceuticals. I swear to
Right.
God. So they were using herbs, oils, plant medicine, whatever. There's a lot to this, but Jesus himself, I mean, we didn't have cars back then, obviously, but would Jesus put on a seatbelt? Probably. Did he drink water to stay hydrated? Yeah. Did he have to eat sometimes? Sure. Did he fast? Sure. So everyone, you can get uptight and point fingers and say like, oh, well, oils aren't the Holy Spirit and God will do everything. God's not going to do everything for you.
True.
God's awesome, but God isn't going to force you to put a seatbelt on when you get in a car. He's not going to say don't drink and drive. Like there's certain things that are just common sense. And if you do want to follow the Bible, actually oils are in the Bible. So that's what I got to say about that.
I
I want to
love it.
ask you
I went to
also.
seminary. I actually went to seminary and Bible
Did
school,
you?
Margaret. I'm just telling you. So I don't follow a practice of any religion. I'm very non-religious, but I do believe in Jesus, and Jesus was the highest measured man on the planet, 1,000, and Mary Magdalene was equal 1,000. Those are the only two people I've measured out of 1,000 on the planet. So he had
Wow.
something going on, and if you want to follow Jesus, what would Jesus do? Jesus used oils.
That's a high
Gonna say,
frequency.
so did all the priests. The priests used the oils.
That's true.
Yeah.
Incense too, if we want to get into the Catholic Church. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I got
that's
a
amazing.
quick question for you though. It's very important to keep our immune system up. First of all, what do you do to keep your immune system up? And this is a trick question because it involves negative people that can affect us, toxic people that we have around us and we may not even recognize it. How do we go about cleansing ourselves of all the toxicity, including toxic people and all the toxins in the environment? What do you do?
Well, first of all, everyone should have some sort of, I invite everyone. I want to say everyone should because I'm not everyone and everyone gets to do whatever they want because we have free will. But go within and see what your practice is, whoever you are watching. I just invite you to hear for what you need to do because maybe what you're doing isn't necessarily what I'm doing. But since you asked what I'm doing, diet is a big thing. I do a lot of juicing. I do a lot of essential oils. I do supplements when I need them. I drink lots of tea. I have to admit I drink coffee, but I do put a little baking soda in it to take off the acidity. I prefer organic when possible, as far as not just food, but essential oils, coffee, tea, whatever is going in my body. Staying hydrated is very important. Getting sunlight is very important. Some form of exercise, even if it's just 30 minutes a few times a week, is very important. Sleeping, especially between 10 at night and midnight. If you can be in bed and actually asleep by 10, the period between 10 and 12 is the highest HGH dump if you are asleep. And HGH stands for the human growth hormone. And this is the hormone that really builds up your antioxidants, that takes care of and defrags whatever needs to go bye-bye. It helps restore, replenish your cells, your body, your organs. But most people aren't even asleep at 10 yet. So that's really important.
That's me.
But but diet.
You are a sleep doggy or you aren't?
No, I can't remember last time I went to bed by 10.
Yeah. Well, it's something to consider. Some people are, I have always been a night owl. And when I learned that about the HGH, like there's a big, big dump during that time that you miss if you're not sleeping during that time. And so, and I admit it, sometimes I'm up, reading or researching or taking care of whatever I didn't get to take care of during the day with, all the animals and the kids and the jobs and, it's just life sometimes, but it's something to be aware of. Meditation is great. Yoga, or you don't even have to call it yoga. Yoga just means union. but
Yeah.
stretching and remembering God as you stretch and getting into alignment, remembering God in your body. You know,
That.
but going back to people,
Yeah.
if you don't love yourself enough to trash your body, whether it's like eating poorly, not exercising, drinking too much, or any kind of recreational drugs, whatever, those kind of things will actually bring your frequency way down. And then you not only attract entities, but you attract people that are a lower vibration. And those would be the toxic people, the scalar wave. I call them the 50 club. So 50 on
How do you
scalar
get
wave.
50?
50, the 50 club is the, I'm not sure I can say names, like in certain politic realms and what have you, in certain people who created
Yes.
all this stuff,
Yeah.
certain presidents that might be president now, and presidents in the past that were maybe ran and didn't make it, trying to use code.
I'm
Um,
with you. I'm with you.
there's even a lot of influencers out there who are 50s. I call them the 50 club. They're the manipulators, they're the liars, the cheaters. They have greed, they have a lot of anger, they're takers.
Yeah.
Their field is inverted.
Yeah.
They have zero field.
Oh,
And I
really?
believe it's a protection mechanism that God created to say, you know what, you're going to be an asshole. I don't want you to have any influence. Sorry,
Wow.
excuse my language,
No, it's
but
good.
if you have a higher map of consciousness, if you know, like Jesus had 1,000, his radius was like 40 feet. So he could just walk anywhere, and 40 feet away, people would
Wow.
already feel him, and he
Like,
could feel others. And when you're a 50, you're one of those people that need to suck off someone else.
yes.
And so when you lower yourself in frequency, not only do you cause a dis-ease in your body and your organs and leave yourself susceptible to viruses and different issues, but you also attract entities.
Yeah.
Like weed and alcohol is a 25,
Yeah.
and death starts at 25. So if you are involved
Wow.
in any kind of curriculum that has a 25, you're going to bring in people that are at those low numbers, and they're not going to be there to support you. They're going to be there to take and to
And
cause more trauma.
how can we perceive them, Sharnael, Dr. Sharnael? How do you, like, would we feel stressed? Would we feel uncomfortable? Like, how could we maybe know, if we don't know, that people are beginning to suck our energy or we're attracting the lower number?
If well, a lot of people are so kind of gone,
Yeah.
that they don't even know that they're attracting them.
Right.
And I mean, like, you could be so low. Most people that are 50 or below, or even 100, which is addictions and below, or even 200 and below, they're not cognizant or have any kind of ability to even have empathy or compassion or understanding about anyone else's needs except for themselves.
That's not
So
good.
most of those people don't even know that they're doing it. They're
Yeah.
just like living
Right.
life and taking what they
Right.
can and living paycheck to paycheck and taking everywhere that is, you know, an open door for them, you know.
Yeah.
But once you hit that 200 mark in the map of consciousness, that's courage. That's the courage level where people start really looking at themselves and having the courage to look at themselves and say, you know what, I created this.
Yes.
And that's the good
Yes.
news and the bad news, you know, but I can fix this. And having the
Yes.
courage to remember, like, I'm powerful and I can fix this, and start making action plans to fix it. But how can you tell? If you are awake and aware, you'll feel drained. You'll feel like, I mean, I've seen someone call me and I see the caller ID and I'm just like, not doing it.
No.
You know, I'm sure you all have had that Debbie Downer in your life, or the Debbie David Downer, or I don't know what you what you want to call it. But you can
Yeah.
almost like hear the suckage in the room, you know, the
That's right.
trolls, you know, the trolls that come and make the comments, and
Yeah.
you know, they're
Yeah.
just there to like cord in and take,
Yes.
because they're miserable and they don't know what else to do, and they feed off of it. They get energized by
Yeah.
your reaction. by taking from you, even if it's just your attention in any way, whether good or bad. That's what they want.
Yeah, and a lot of them, they don't even know they're doing it. It's
No, they
natural
don't.
to
It's
them.
survival. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a
It's
good
survival for
that's a
them.
good point. They don't know
Yeah.
it, and it's just survival. Yep.
And we
Got another.
shouldn't get mad at them because,
No.
you know, a lot of them aren't thinking, oh, I'm going to call that person up and I'm going to suck their energy. You know, they're not thinking it. They're coming from a genuine place of spiritual and cellular dysfunction, right? We should have a little bit of compassion for, I'm not saying give up your energy to them, but I'm saying even if we get mad at them, then we're feeding their energy.
Yes, it's there's some kind of trauma, there's some wound that's not healed.
Yeah.
And there can be a desperation for sure that they don't know what to do, so they just lash out or troll. They don't know, so they're just taking to live.
Yes.
So yes, compassion, but firm. Sometimes you got to be firm with those guys.
Boundaries, big boundaries.
Yep. You know, block. It's not. There's a friend of mine recently who has a show, and someone had asked her a question live and said, how come you delete comments? And she said, the person had asked her and said, like, why do you specifically delete my comments? And put her on the spot. And she had a really good comeback. She said, if I'm in my house and you come over to my house and you take a crap in my living room, you're not coming back to my house. And that's not the word she used, but you know, we have our platforms and we have our websites, we have our Facebook pages, and if someone comes in and takes a crap in the comments, you know, I'm gonna probably delete it. Sometimes I can feel like they're genuinely asking, or they want to know, or they're understanding you, or they're asking with the frequency of searching. Then I can detect that, and I have a lot of compassion because I'm like, hey, I can help. I can answer that question. But sometimes the questions are very like they're trying to start a fight. Like they want to prove, they want you to defend. They're defending themselves. They're calling you out on what you think you should be doing or whatever. And it's like, you know what? I'm not playing that. I'm just delete, remove, bye-bye.
Yeah. Got a quick question because somebody, when they heard you were going to be on, they texted me and said, could you ask her what can they do to reset the biological clock so that the body would burn calories faster and burn fat faster? And there was an issue of being overweight. What could she do to reset the biological clock so that it will burn faster?
That's a great question. Whoever brought that up, that's great. Liver
besides hiring me as their trainer. Just kidding.
There you go.
That's a great idea. Do it. Yes. A liver cleanse will reset all your hormones and your brain chemistry. And you may have to do more than one. I did when I first found out about liver cleanses. I had never done one where stones came out. Wow. And that's the kind you need to do. If you can do a liver cleanse where stones come out, you're going to increase your enzymes, your natural enzymes through your gallbladder and your liver, which helps you to digest your food and speeds up your metabolism. If your hormones reset, that's going to give you more energy and you're going to feel good to go out and like work out or go take a walk or be outside. You know, you may have to do more than one because the average person who's 30 years old who's never done a liver cleanse where stones came out could have up to 2,000 stones in their liver. So
I had no idea, Shar.
Oh yeah, and if you're trying to get pregnant, a lot of fertility issues right now because there's so many hormone disruptors and there's so much stuff in the food that people are just loaded with these stones and they're not able to even get pregnant or have a baby. Both the men and the women need to do liver cleanses. But yeah, liver cleanse will speed up the metabolism, speed up energy, help clear out cholesterol for the brain and the heart, cause you to sleep better. You will definitely shed weight like crazy. And then essential oils with the limbic system will also set off like any assignments that may have stuck. That's a whole nother long answer, but yeah, raising the frequency and allowing the olfactory, it goes past the olfactory system, past the frontal lobe into the limbic system, basically tells the limbic system, who's the library of your emotions, hey, it's time to let go of the trauma in the body. And when we hold on to trauma, even if we don't realize we are, then we hold on to weight. And so when we let go of the trauma, the weight just falls off. So those are two biggies. And if anyone has any questions, you guys can contact me or whatever. And
I suppose get a hold of you for the more information on what kind of the essential oils and so on. So they need to talk to you personally.
So people are asking to name names as far as good essential oil companies that are trustworthy.
Send me. I don't like to send me a text in Facebook or something, you know. And I just don't. I don't want to look like.
I know.
It's weird to
does it begin with a Y?
Like dishing other people. I don't want to diss anybody else.
Does it begin with a Y?
Yes, it does. It does, actually.
How about a D? How about a D?
No, that's one of the worst.
I heard that changed. I heard that
one of the worst ones you can possibly get as far as frequency. Yeah, it's on the 50 Club. And there's actually technology in the 50 Club too. There's certain machines that are supposed to do biofeedback that are in the 50 Club. So anyway, it's interesting. But I did pull a card for you guys.
Oh yeah.
I know we only have a couple minutes. Unakite, guys, this is what I got for you. Unakite is a harmony crystal used primarily for healing and unity of relationships. The vibration of this crystal aligns with love frequencies and touches matters of the heart. Unakite works mostly with the heart energy center and ignites security and truth to bring people together in community. It also aids in support for reproductive, as we're talking about reproductive, skin, hair issues, pregnancy. The decree is, I am one with God and so is my world. And the companion oils are spruce, coriander, cypress, and goldenrod. So that one, and I also picked aquamarine obsidian. So those are you guys, whoever wants to take it, just take it in quantumly. It's yours for the night.
Thank you. Sharnael, please tell people how to reach you, because you invited them to email you about the oils or working with you.
Email's down right now.
Oh, that's right.
Best way to get me is through Instagram Messenger or Twitter Messenger or Facebook Messenger. And I do have a class on a workshop on how to do liver cleanse, and I have tons of information about essential oils, and I can point people in the right direction. I kind of specialize in aromatherapy. That's how I started all this. So yeah, I love your questions, and I love conferences like this, and I love you guys. I do miss real life where we can hug and like talk to people and sign books and speak into each other's hearts and really look in eyeballs. I don't see any eyeballs here. So if anyone got anything, I always love a little like message and say, hey, I saw you. And then I get to make a point of contact with your face, whoever's watching, and just go like, hi, I see you. So yeah, I love getting communication from you guys.
Do they on Facebook and places, do they look for your name or Swiftfire International, or where would be the best place?
I'm under Sharnael Wolverton Sehon and or also Swiftfire International. I have two different pages. There's one mock page that's not me, and there's different ones that pop up all the time, but I only have two. So if anyone's asking for money or anything like that, that's not me. I would never ask for money or you to send money or anything like that. So be aware that there's scammers sometimes.
There are. I just got hacked. Yeah. Sharnael, thank you so much.
Or get on my newsletter too. I was just going to say swiftfire.org. Just get on my newsletter. Go to swiftfire.org, and I put out a newsletter every week. Mac actually is on here. He helps me put out a newsletter, and you know, we have a show every Thursday at noon. Different amazing people. You guys have been on my show a few times, and yeah, I'm just I love you. I can't wait to meet you in real life.
So good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And everybody, there's a lot in the chat. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your questions, but so much love to you. It was so good to be with you.
Yeah, it was great. Oh, we got a last question.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Sharnael, what if you could speak to the whole world and the world was listening, what would you tell them?
The world is listening. And I have a funny story about that, but
Love
I'll
that.
just say I was getting my Jeep cleaned and I was having a very vulnerable, dark, like serious conversation with this woman when I drove through the car wash. And I said, when they were about to vacuum, they told me, please leave and put your, leave your keys and, we'll call you when it's ready. So I left the car running. I turned off the Bluetooth, walk over. I'm having this like crying session with this woman saying the craziest stuff because I was just when I was first realizing that the voice to text stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing this and blah blah blah. And when they called me back and said, your car's ready, I get in the car and it was still on and they heard everything.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh my God, this is such a mirror to me to remind me whenever you're talking about anything or anyone, everyone's always listening. It doesn't matter if they're face to face or not. Energy is energy. And so I would say love well. My mentor always said that when he would hear God, that God would always say, did you learn to love? He had a near-death experience. He went, saw the light, and the only thing that God asked everybody in this line going to the pearly gates or whatever was, did you learn to love? So love yourself. I know that sounds counter to like ministry types where it's like, the other person, and all of us in service have such a tendency to give and give and give, and we get so depleted, but we cannot love ourselves. We cannot love others until we love ourselves. So love yourself, oxygen mask on, and then, that overflow will be what you can do to help in service. But we gotta really look inward and love ourselves well in this time. And that's how you attract your divine partner too. If you're looking for a divine partner, you won't get anything less than what you are.
That's
so
right.
If you don't work on yourself and love yourself, then you're going to put out a hate energy and you're going to collect haters, cancel clear. And so the more you love you, the more that signal goes out and you start attracting all these people who love you just as much as you love you. And you will only get people who love you as much to the level that you love yourself. So that's a big.
So
absolutely.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sharnael. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Augie, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Here will be again next week. We will be here with another show with a great guest. And until then, be good to each other.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Much love.